The Black Death, how the plague changed Europe forever. Welcome to History Vault. Today we delve deeper into one of the most devastating events in human history, the Black Death. This deadly pandemic swept across Europe, Asia, and North Africa in the mid-14th century, leaving a trail of death and reshaping society in profound ways. Let's explore the origins, spread, impact, and lasting legacy of this terrifying plague. Origins and spread. The Black Death, primarily caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, is believed to have originated in Central Asia. From there, it traveled along trade routes, carried by fleas living on rodents, particularly black rats. These rats hitched rides on merchant ships and caravans, unknowingly transporting the disease across vast distances. In 1347, the plague arrived in Europe via ships docking in Sicilian ports. The disease quickly spread through Italy and then across the continent, reaching France, Spain, England, Germany, and beyond. The unsanitary conditions in medieval cities, with narrow streets, crowded housing, and poor waste disposal, provided the perfect breeding ground for the disease to thrive. Symptoms and transmission. The Black Death manifested in three main forms: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. Bubonic plague, the most common form, was characterized by swollen and painful lymph nodes called buboes, typically found in the groin, armpits, and neck. Other symptoms included fever, chills, headache, and fatigue. Pneumonic plague affected the lungs and was highly contagious, spreading through airborne droplets when infected individuals coughed or sneezed. Septicemic plague was the rarest and most deadly form, occurring when the bacteria entered the bloodstream, causing rapid organ failure and death. The lack of understanding about disease transmission made the situation even worse. People didn't know that fleas and rats were responsible, so they couldn't take effective measures to prevent the spread. Instead, they often blamed the plague on divine punishment, astrological events, or even minority groups, leading to persecution and violence. Devastating impact on population. The Black Death had a catastrophic impact on Europe's population. It's estimated that the plague killed between 30% and 60% of Europe's population in just a few years. Some regions were hit harder than others, with cities and densely populated areas suffering the greatest losses. The death toll was so high that it led to labor shortages, economic disruption, and social upheaval. Fields were left uncultivated, trade declined, and many villages were abandoned. The loss of so many skilled workers and artisans also had a long-term impact on the economy. Social and economic transformations. The Black Death brought about significant social and economic changes. With fewer workers available, laborers could demand higher wages and better working conditions. This weakened the feudal system, where peasants were tied to the land and obligated to serve their lords. The plague also led to a decline in the power of the church. Many priests and religious leaders died while caring for the sick, and people began to question the church's ability to protect them from the disease. Some turned to more personal forms of religion or even questioned the existence of God. The Black Death also spurred innovation and new ways of thinking. With fewer people to do the work, there was a greater need for technology and efficiency. This may have contributed to the later development of new inventions and the rise of capitalism. Cultural and artistic responses. The Black Death had a profound impact on art, literature, and culture. Images of death and decay became common themes in paintings, sculptures, and writings. Artists depicted skeletons, grim reapers, and scenes of suffering to remind people of the fragility of life. The danse macabre, or dance of death, became a popular motif, showing people from all walks of life being led to their graves by skeletons. This symbolized the universality of death and the idea that no one could escape the plague. Writers also explored themes of death, loss, and the meaning of life in their works. The Decameron by Giovanni Boccaccio, for example, tells the story of a group of people who flee Florence to escape the plague and entertain themselves by telling stories. Long-term consequences and legacy. The Black Death had long-lasting consequences for Europe and the world. It led to significant social, economic, and cultural changes that helped shape the course of history. The plague also had a psychological impact, leaving people with a heightened awareness of death and a sense of uncertainty about the future. Although the Black Death eventually subsided, outbreaks of plague continued to occur for centuries. The last major outbreak in Europe was in the 18th century. Today, plague is still present in some parts of the world, but it can be effectively treated with antibiotics. The story of the Black Death serves as a reminder of the devastating impact that pandemics can have on human societies. It also highlights the importance of public health measures, scientific research, and international cooperation in preventing and controlling infectious diseases. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you want to discover more untold stories from history, subscribe to History Vault. There are many more amazing stories waiting for you.